Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. How can there be a silver surplus if there's a silver shortage? Let's explore. A perplexing question probably requires a perplexing answer. The silver market is quite a bit more complicated, I think, than most people think. And I believe it's worth kind of exploring this notion and trying to kind of simplify some of the language here. There was a recent interview done with an associate with Metals Focus who does some of the reporting for the Silver Institute. Usually it's a report that we all live, eat, and breathe by in terms of the numbers for silver. In fact, many people have noted, and I myself have come to the conclusion that we find the data there fairly accurate, and it has shown that there's been a bit more demand than supply since about 2016. Although the report this year is showing that there is a considerable surplus, in part due to a lack of demand. That's right, demand has gone down and surplus has gone up. And this is a little bit perplexing to think about, especially when you take into account the great demand we've been seeing for this stuff, the physical silver, really since the pandemic started last year. And I think that's where a lot of confusion comes into play, because it has been an unusual time since 2020 in the silver market, and by association and because of what's been happening with the supply chains and logistics all around the world, every commodity has been affected in some way, shape, or form. And some of the price movements that we've been seeing, we can really account for because of the lack of supply of some of these products that we use even on a daily basis, such as toilet paper and other things. They're going to be going up very soon. Now, obviously, we know there's inflation that's involved in some of this. That is for sure. But there's other factors as well. And that's economics 101. Whenever there is a shortage of anything, typically the prices go up. And so let's talk a little bit about this. What is the magnitude of this supply? Well, when we see the actual report, you will see that there's been a great supply and a great increase in the amount of good delivery bars in the COMEX and to some extent the LBMA. But the COMEX especially, there's a lot there. And we've been seeing some of these 1,000-ounce bars become available for purchase for general folks like you and I. And for those who don't understand, these 1,000-ounce good delivery bars, they are, though some of them may be pure silver, some of them have been manufactured quite a long time ago, and they have varying weights. And by the way, because of the nature of the type of silver it is, it's very hard to kind of break it down, per se. They're industrial products, essentially. In fact, a lot of that silver is taken and transformed and utilized for industrial biomedical applications. They don't take a silver eagle and apply it for that purpose. And so it has to go through several different manufacturing processes in order for it to make its way into whatever product or service it's going to provide. And when I say service, I'm talking about allocating it for backing up ETPs, exchange-traded products. And that is another thing that, from what this interview that I saw with this associate with Metals Focus, he was mentioning how there's been a great demand for the exchange-traded funds across multiple different spectrums. And we know that there has been great demand for physical silver products as well. Hence the silver squeeze movement that has really taken off what has already taken off from a prior squeeze in a sense, although it really wasn't called that a year ago. But when we saw silver and gold essentially crash during March of last year out of panic, running to the safety of cash, which I would not hold out that couldn't happen again in the future. When you see that sort of thing happen, well, many of us jumped on and wanted to take advantage of that, and we bought silver and the physical form of it. And we realized that when we tried to buy, a lot of people did at the same time. And because of the way the supplies were, because of the pandemic, it was very difficult to get it in a timely manner. That's number one. Number two, it was difficult to find it at a decent price above spot. Premiums increased. Why did they increase? Because of the lack of the supply of physical products. In other words, coins, bars, rounds were in short supply that are available for what are known as investors, or what we call stackers, because I don't see silver as an investment. I see silver as a hedge against economic instability. And so I accumulate it with that understanding. And I believe that if you have that understanding for silver, well, you're not going to be surprised if it doesn't perform like you think it should, because in the long run, typically that's what it's there for. That's what it has served to be for thousands of years. There's nothing really special about this time other than social media hype, fear-mongering, and the like. And that's why I provide a balanced view in how I present information on this channel. And that interview, by the way, the gentleman from Metals Focus received quite a bit of flack in the comment sections and thumbs down and the like, but there is a lot of conflicting information, and I think a lot of it is due to the complexity of the markets, number one, but number two is a lot of it is based off of emotion instead of looking at it from an analytical standpoint. And there's so many different ways and there's that you can take and skew data. And this is why I want to be as open-minded as I can about it, but at the same time, be as realistic as I can about it with the information that we have that is available now. What do we know? There's two things. I believe in the Silver Institute's report that there is a silver supply because of much of what happened last year with the shutdowns and slowdowns, by the way. In other words, that when things opened up back again, they weren't performing at full throttle, so to speak. And so therefore, the silver that had been mined already from 2019 and early 2020 was not being utilized. So therefore, there was this extra supply of it. Hence, probably why there was a lot more that was sent to these COMEX vaults and the like. And as I have said before, and others have agreed with me, that it's unlikely that we're going to break the COMEX, so to speak. And largely, I think that is based off of the Silver Institute's report. So there's a lot of silver out there, and that is an argument that I've made for quite some time. It is a rare precious metal, but it is not nearly as rare as gold, and is certainly not nearly as abundant as copper. But look what happened to copper. Copper's prices have doubled. And I think much of that can be attributed to the same reasoning. And by the way, how many people are talking about copper price suppression? Not very many people are talking about that, but they're talking about silver price suppression. But in a sense, you can make a stronger argument for copper price suppression, especially considering that copper is much more utilized in industry by volume than silver is. And not only that, but it is also still used as money. That's right. Copper is money, and you use it every day when if you hold pocket change, and you with your quarters and your nickels and your dimes, and to a much lesser extent now since 1982, your Lincoln cents if you're here in the United States of America. But nonetheless, silver is a metal that is it has a lot of people fired up right now, that's for sure. And silver's surplus is now a reality that we've got to live with, that there is a surplus of silver. But there also, on the other side of the coin, which is very much true, there is a silver squeeze that is going on, and there's a silver shortage of product, which is what I've been saying from the very beginning of this silver squeeze movement, is that this stuff is getting a little difficult to come by these days. Yea, though, as I've posted in 2 separate videos recently, we've seen a supply of 100-ounce bars come into fruition, kilo-sized bars, and we are seeing some products make their way back in, but with premiums tied to them. So there is how you can get a silver surplus, have a silver surplus, and a silver shortage at the same time, because it's a silver product shortage. And the language can get a little bit confusing from time to time, but understanding the silver markets, and again, there's a complexity to it when you get down to the minutia of what goes on behind the scenes with the actual market trading and futures contracts, options, and the like, things that could have a potential effect on price movement and discovery. There's emotional drivers that play in the markets, the psychology of the market, so to speak, that drive the price. But as far as the premiums, they're wide open now, and they are a wide array from what you will pay for silver and what you will potentially get charged or get back from it if you sell it to your local coin shop. I've heard recently some folks who've anecdotally told me that their local coin shops will gladly pay you up to $4 an ounce above spot for Eagles and other generics out there too, depending on what the product is. So there is some of that. That's part of what happens in a free market where we're seeing some of these premiums. Whenever you buy silver, though, and you're paying these high premiums, you are enriching the bullion dealers who are seeing a massive volume of orders, and that's okay. If that's, if you're wanting to send a message with silver, as long as you understand those metrics and the profits and the premiums and the like, and as long as you understand that there's no guarantee you're going to get those back, and there's no guarantee that silver is going to climb to whatever level that some people think because of perceived price suppression or manipulation on a vast scale. If that stuff doesn't come to fruition, well, you have to be prepared to live with what you've got and not get too disappointed if it doesn't turn out the way you think it should, or the way that it's been perceived by a lot of the community here and social media. But my feeling is this is why I've always had the view that silver, because of the nature of what it is throughout history, it sells itself. And so whenever we see a report that we don't like a silver surplus at a time where there's been an unprecedented demand for physical silver product out there, you get a lot of people that are sorely disappointed to the point where they literally start trashing the messenger. And to me, I think that's unfortunate to see that type of thing happen. But that's the nature of social media. I know I have gotten some flack fairly recently because I don't toe the line with a vast majority of the community. People think that I'm controlled opposition or that I don't know what I'm talking about because I hold a certain view about a certain topic or what have you. And if I don't agree with 100% of whatever is said, then I become the enemy. And reality is, I don't care what anybody's view is on a particular metal or the price or suppression or whatever. In the end, we should all come together and realize that silver, the fundamentals of silver are really essentially irrefutable to a point. And even those that hate silver can probably agree that over the course of a span of time, silver at the very least will preserve your wealth. It won't make you rich. It doesn't pay dividends, but it will preserve your wealth over the course of a long period of time if you buy it in the right way. And I think that fundamental holds strong. In other words, this is a savings account. It's an insurance policy. It sells itself. History proves its worth. And I believe if we come together and agree on that fundamental truth, and we enjoy it for the beauty of it. I mean, good grief. Tell me these coins and metals here, the libertads. Some people say because there's no denomination, they're not coins. But tell me that's not kind of cool looking. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty. I think it's beautiful. I think these bars are kind of nice looking. You know? And some of this stuff I bought a long time ago. And, or poured quite a while ago. And I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm going to keep it. I enjoy it. And I think the very worst, at the very least, it's going to preserve my wealth. And that's the bottom line. And it's not just because I said so. It's because history said so. And so there you have it. That's where we're at. And so that's how you can have a silver surplus and a silver shortage at the same freaking time. Oh, yeah! So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch. And yes, I'm going to actually encourage you to please rate, please share, click that notification bell so that you can be apprised of the latest video from this channel, comment, and subscribe.